boos and ghouls out there in YouTube land. This is Jen. So, how the hell are you guys? I know, a long time no talk to you guys, and I deeply apologize for that. But you guys clicked on a good video today because this is the first video back on the new channel. Sans the video I made explaining why there's a new channel. And if you guys missed that video, I'll give you the cliff notes. The reason why I have a new channel is because fucking hackers got to my old channel, put up a bunch of bullshit content, and essentially nuked my channel. The old Jen's Reviews from the Grave is gone, baby, gone. Luckily for me, the Trash Picture Show managed to salvage a few of my old reviews before it was completely nuked. Not everything, sadly, but he did manage to save a few of them. But aside from those ones that he saved, everything else from that channel is gone. Hence why I haven't been around for a while. I know a lot of you guys were reaching out to the Trash Picture Show asking when I was coming back. And honestly, guys, I just needed a little time. I talked about this in the previous video. In the grand scheme of things, you know, world tragedy wise, a person who was not quite to 2,000 subs, their channel getting nuked on YouTube is not even a blip on the radar of human tragedies. But for the creator of that channel, it was kind of a tragedy. And I don't mean to be melodramatic about it. There are people who I know who would love to that was their biggest problem, that are dealing with much more serious problems. I'm sure some of you guys out there in YouTube land are thinking, yeah, it's not that big of a deal. You know, put on your big girl panties and get on with it. Which I intend to do, guys. I really do. But I needed a little time because I was, not to be over dramatic, but I was devastated over this. And there was a couple of days where I literally just wept. I just was crying my eyes out because there was some videos on that channel that I was extremely proud of. Some solo reviews, some videos that Velvet and I, my daughter Velvet and I did together. And it was a good little chunk of my life that is just poof. And I needed some time to process it because I didn't want to come back to you guys and be mopey Jen. The reason why I started the old reviews from the Jen's Reviews from the Grave and why I'm continuing it on this new channel is to entertain you guys, to bring you guys some laughs, to make you guys forget about your problems for a little while. It's also to talk about horrors and give you guys my thoughts and perspectives on horror movies and all the latest horror news. But the other really big reason is just to entertain you guys and to try to make you guys laugh. And to be perfectly honest, Jen wasn't feeling too funny for the last couple of weeks. I've kind of made my peace with it, accepted that the old channel is gone, and I get to rise from the phoenix from the ashes and go caw, 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 caw. Phoenixes make that sound, right? Yeah, so I'm back now. I have a little bit of my funny bone, and longtime viewers will come back to this channel. And if you randomly came upon this video and never knew anything about my old channel, let me take a minute to introduce myself. Hi, my name's Jen, and I love horror since I was 4 years old. The first horror movie I ever watched was John Landis's magnum opus, American Werewolf in London. And I felt about that movie the way some kids felt about The Wizard of Oz or some Disney pictures, except my movie had dead zombie Nazis, a guy literally rotting himself away where he couldn't even talk anymore, some wickedly funny black humor, some of which I got at an early age and some of it I had to mature a little bit, but even the stuff I didn't quite get, I got it enough to know I dug it. And just one viewing and I was hooked for life and became a lifelong horror fan. And not only American Werewolf in London, but healthy viewings with my old pal Joe Bob Briggs when he was on the movie channel, and then when he moved to TNT, as well as Commander USA's Groovy Movies, gave me one hell of an education in the horror movie realm, as well as good old American schlock. It made me so many years later create my old channel, Jen's Reviews from the Grave, and on that channel I just wanted to celebrate and talk about all the different facets of horror, all the subgenres of horror, all the movies coming out, and I pretty much want to continue it on this channel. While I will talk about the big boys of horror, you know, your Michael Myers, your Freddy Krueger, your Jason Voorhees, nobody loves that fucking clown, Art the Clown, more than I do. Where my heart is the independent scene. I will talk to you about all the mainstream movies, but I also like to keep my ear to the ground and go for the indie scene. I love to dive deep and find really cool low-budget horror movies that have so much ingenuity and heart and have so much to say about taboo social subjects that the horror genre has always tackled way back to the silent era. And I like to bring you guys those to your radars, the movies that might have gone under y'all's radars. We celebrate those kind of movies on this channel. And when I decided to come back and was thinking of what I wanted to do for my first video, I thought, well, YouTube, no matter what kind of video you're making, loves a good top 10 list. The algorithm gets super cokily happy, like they're hyped up on coke if you give them a top 10 list, and you guys usually like top 10 lists. And I also thought that the video I wanted to do, I wanted to show people who might not be familiar with me what this channel is all about. So I decided to make a top 10 list of my favorite top 10 horror movies that I think are phenomenal, but are also phenomenally underrated, underloved, and under-talked about. And I thought it would be very good because we are in October and it is Halloween season, and I know so many of you guys out there do binge watches of horror movies and are always looking to add new fresh blood to you guys' movie-thons. And I thought that maybe one of these or a couple of these movies you might want to add onto your list. And again, for longtime viewers, you guys have heard me talk about all these movies that are on this top 10 list, but for you new guys, this will give you guys kind of a little bit of a psychological insight into my head and kind of get an idea of what my tastes are and what kind of movies, what kind of horror movies I dig. So without further ado, I'm gonna give you guys Jen's most underrated horror movies that should be on y'all's radar. And I did good this time, guys. I only have one honorable mention, and just because this is an honorable mention, it's just as good as my official top 10. There was only so many spaces, but I have to bring up this movie. And also, this is fair that this is only an honorable mention because there is one other person in the horror community who has talked about this movie and loves it just as much as I do, and that is the horror miser Monty G. Both Monty and I can't get enough of 2020's The Boy Behind the Door, and I implore you guys, if you've never seen Boy Behind the Door, go in blind. This is one, the journey is just as fun as the actual destination. And if you appreciate films such as Wes Craven's People Under the Stairs, you will probably really dig Boy Behind the Door, because the heart of this movie is about two young boys and their extraordinary friendship. And they go on a horrifically awful journey together that tests just how deep their friendship lies, and they get into horrific circumstances. And one of the things that is so brilliant about this movie movie isn't what it appears to be. There's some twists and turns with this movie, and the genius of horror is a social commentary, right, guys? And one of the things that this movie really stuck out with its commentary is just the way society is trained to think, because one of the twists in this movie is about a character, and it just didn't occur to me that this character could be something. And again, I can't go into any more detail about it because it's a spoiler, but I just assumed that this character had to be this way because of course they have to be this way. And when we get the reveal about one particular character, I do not say this, I do not use hyperbole, I mean this. When a reveal is about a certain character in this movie, my jaw was on the floor, because we are conditioned as a society to think certain roles. There are certain roles that people take, and it was interesting to me because I never questioned it. Even though the movie wasn't really trying to hide it once I thought about it, and initially this movie came and punched me right in the face, and I never hear anybody talk about it. It is a breath of fresh air. It's a movie that has always stayed with me, and that is why I implore you guys, if you've never checked out Boy Behind the Door, please do so. It's a phenomenal ride and a beautiful story, and it makes you, it's also beautiful. That's one thing we forget about horror, is while there's grotesque and horrific things that happen, it also teaches us to appreciate the beauty in life, such as a good friendship, a friend that you can count on no matter what, who will risk their lives just for yours. That is the purest sense of friendship right there, and this movie shows all of that, and that is the beauty of The Boy Behind the Door and the beauty of horror in general. Moving on to my official top 10, we will start with number 10. And this movie came out in 2024. And like I said earlier, this channel loves independent, lower budgeted movies. And this movie definitely fits that bill. It is a movie called Bystanders. And why this had to be in my top 10 list is because it is one of the most refreshing rape revenge films I have seen in a very long time. It is brilliant. The director, Mary Beth McAndrews, and the writer, Jamie Alvery, I'm probably butchering their names, deliver such a powerful movie with this. And for anybody who's ever had to deal with sexual assault, which as longtime viewers know, happened to me, these movies can be very therapeutic and very cathartic and very comforting, and this movie does all of that. This is something, if you've ever been a victim of this is something that will be a balm on your psychological wounds. And I know you guys are probably rolling your eyes and thinking I'm laying it on heavy, but no, this is a movie that I wish my 17-year-old self could have seen. It approaches the subject matter with respect, but it also isn't afraid to use humor, which is something that these movies ever do. And I can hear the argument, is this an appropriate thing to have humor? Why it is for this particular movie is because the writer and director knew that they're never making fun of the victims. Who they are making fun of are these rich, misogynistic asshole rapist, and that is where the humor lies, and that is where the movie just shows how pathetic these men are. And these men walk around us in real life, and this movie manages to make it comedic but never make the joke on the victims. It's also very much wish fulfillment, because one of the unique aspects about this film, it's about a girl that is assaulted and being hunted by these rich self-entitled frat boys, but as luck would have it, she comes across two serial killers, or as I like to think of them, her fairy godparents, who help her and turn the tables on the rapist. And it's like, for anybody who has been through this situation and they couldn't go to their families, they couldn't go to the cops, they can't do what, for whatever reasons, they had to keep this secret. These people are like who we wanted someone to be there and protect us, and help us, and it's very therapeutic. And I did a review on my old channel, and the director actually left me a very lovely comment and really was appreciative. And it's just a beautiful film for people who have had to survive this sort of thing. It's a movie that didn't get talked about. It is super low budget, but man, just they managed, even though they didn't have a lot of money, that this movie stands on the writing and the acting, and you can tell how much heart and soul went into the making of this movie. It is brilliant, and my hat is off both to the director and writer. It's one that should not go under anyone's radars. Bystanders from 2024. I believe you can find it on Tubi. I think you can find it on Tubi. My number 9 for underrated phenomenal horror movies is a movie from 2017. It is a movie you can thank Del Toro for. He did not direct this, but from what I've heard, this was a movie that he managed to get through the door. It is from a female director, Izzy Lopez, and it is Tigers Are Not Afraid. This is a movie that I am not ashamed to tell you guys on the first initial watch of this film had me in tears. I was literally bawling like a little baby bitch. It is, for people who don't like subtitles, don't let that bother you. The film is so good visually, it is stunning, and it is very much taking a page out of Del Toro. If you like films like Pan's Labyrinth or The Devil's Backbone, you will be dazzled by this film. And it was another film that came out and hardly anybody talked about it. And if you're a parent, this is going to hit you where you live, because we are following a group of children that are caught up with cartels and gang violence, and they are living in the streets, and they're trying to get unentangled from all of this. And what is so beautiful about this movie is it is a fairy tale. Literally, how we start is once upon a time, but while it is very fantastical and there is some beautiful imagery in this film, it is also starkly real, and horrible things will happen to some of these kids, and the movie makes you fall in love with these kids, and it busts your heart wide open when bad things do happen to some of these kids. It manages to walk the very hard and thin line of realism and also fantastical, and it blends it so beautifully, and the images are just breathtaking and heartbreaking at the same time. I have never seen a film that has impacted me so greatly, and it's a movie that literally just makes you weep at the beauty of it. Again, if you're a fan of Del Toro, you will be a fan of Tigers Are Not Afraid. It is a beautiful message, and like I said, it gives you hope, and it also breaks your heart at the same time. It's a wonderful movie that not enough people have talked about, and I have to celebrate it. It's definitely in my top 20 favorite horror movies of all time, and it's one that needs to be celebrated. So definitely check out Tigers Are Not Afraid. You can catch it on Shudder. Number 8 is a movie that I implore you guys, and I'm not hardly going to give you any synopsis, because this is even more than Boy Behind the Door. This is a film that you need to not look up any reviews on. You don't need me to listen to me tell you about it. Just go in blind. And that movie is from 2022, and it is called Soft and Quiet. And all I will say, it is about a group of very diverse women. Horrifying, right? And it has a scene with an apple pie that will fucking scar you. And it is that scene with for a good chunk of the movie, for about 10 to 15 minutes of this movie, you are not gonna know what the fuck are we doing, where are we going, what are we doing with this? And then once an apple pie gets brought out, you're gonna go, oh, fuck me, man. And we go down, and after that apple pie scene, boy, do we go down some twists and turns and what this movie actually is the fuck about. And it's so chilling what this movie is about. And considering the world we live in right now, it can really hit you close to home. I want to talk more about it, guys, but it's one, again, I really want you guys to, I can't say say any more without going into spoilers on this one, but trust me, Soft and Quiet is a fucking masterpiece that hardly anybody talked about, and I implore you guys, but be prepared. This is going to be a heavy, dark ride, and as dark as you think it's getting, it goes even darker by the time the credits roll. This film was also shot in one whole take, which is just fantastic. The actors are fabulous in this, but you're gonna go down a hell of a rabbit hole. And like I said, I know you guys are rolling your eyes thinking, what the fuck, an apple pie, Jen? Trust me, it's horrifying, and when you see the movie, you'll understand why. Definitely check out Soft and Quiet. I'm not sure where you can find this, but look for it. It's well worth looking for. My number 7 is one of the movies that I mentioned that is it's the oldest film on my list, but I feel it's one that people don't remember or are not aware of, and it is a damn shame. It is from 1986, and I did an in-depth review of this about a year ago, and unfortunately that review's gone as well, but just because my review's gone, it doesn't mean you shouldn't check out In a Glass Cage. And what I can tell you about In a Glass Cage, I think the best way to sum up this movie is through a quote that says, "He who fights monsters should look into that he himself does not become a monster." Or to put it another way, when you look into the abyss looks into you. This is a movie about Nazis, about a pedophilic Nazi at that. And the movie opens up and we find out that this Nazi has decided to shed his mortal coil and throw himself off the roof, which, you know, I have no problem with. Yay, one less Nazi in the world. Unfortunately, he doesn't completely complete the act, where he really hurts himself and literally he's still alive, and he gets put into an iron lung, hence the name of the movie, In a Glass Cage. But where this movie gets interesting is that the person that comes to take care of him happens to be one of his victims, who he sexually and physically abused and did horrific, unspeakable things to. And you think that's, you know, we've seen this story done many times before, but there's a lot more to this story, and we go into, and why this movie is as fucked up as I say it is because it's not a straightforward revenge. It's not just about the kid wanting to torture a fucking Nazi pedophile who did horrible things to him. We can all get behind that. The lines get blurred, and our victim becomes just as much of a monster as what the monster did to him was. And again, a very dark rabbit hole. It's a hard movie to watch, and this one you can find on Tubi. It's a hard movie to find, and when I was doing that review, I was looking for everywhere to review it, and I thought I wouldn't have to do the review because I couldn't find it, and then it was Tubi of all places that I found it. But it is a brutal movie, and there's a lot more that I'm not telling you about this movie, including about the Nazi's daughter. She gets involved in this too, as well as his wife. And even though it was made about Nazis, and the movie was made in 1986, sad to say, this movie is just as relevant today as it was when it was made. It's a hard watch, and it's one that doesn't get talked about or celebrated as much as I feel it should, and that is a damn shame. So definitely go to Tubi and check out In a Glass Cage. But again, this is one, if you notice, most of my movies aren't happy. I generally like my movies as dark and as fucked up and as push it as far as possible. I guess you're kind of, guys, new people that might just have clicked on this video will notice that's kind of a theme of mine. I generally like the downers. So my number 6 is a movie that will also continue the trend of a very dark and depressing and fucked up horror. It is a movie from 2022, and it is a movie starring Rebecca Hall, giving one of the most brilliant monologues that I've seen in a horror movie in a very long time. And she's also having some help from the incredible, impeccable Tim Roth, and the movie is called Resurrection. If you guys have ever been in a really fucked up a relationship, and God knows we all have at one point in our life, this movie will speak to you. Talk about a toxic relationship. Rebecca Hall is trying to save her daughter because she sees her going down the same road she did, and we go into flashbacks and we see why she is such an overprotective mother when we find out what happened to her as a girl and what happened to her other child as well as her partner in this movie. We go down a dark rabbit hole, and this was another movie that just it's never left me. I watched the first time I watched it, it was a movie that just I had such a physical reaction to it, and it made me feel weird things. It made me feel like it put me in a very dark, depressing place, but I also could understand it. And one of the brilliant things about Resurrection is the ending. Everybody I've ever talked to who has seen this movie has a different interpretation about the ending. Some people find the ending very uplifting and very comforting, and other people see it as extremely dark and very nihilistic. I see it more as a happier ending, but I can also understand why some people would not. It is, and like I said, Rebecca Hall gives one of the best horror monologues I've ever heard from anybody when she is talking about what she went through with this man and what he did to her. And I feel that this is a very empowering movie for women in particular, and if you've ever been in a controlling, domineering, misogynistic relationship with a man, I feel all women will really resonate with Resurrection. It's another hard watch, but it is powerful, and even if you don't end up liking the movie as much as I did, the monologue given by the incomparable Rebecca Hall is worth the price of admission right there. That is why you guys need to see Resurrection. My number 5 is, you guys might say this one's a cheat because yes, it's such an unknown movie that they made an American remake, and oh yes they did, and oh my god did I hate the American remake. If there's ever been a remake of a movie, God, did I hate this remake. I will say that James McAvoy does give a very good performance, but that's no surprise. He's a phenomenal actor, but the writing and the tone, and they just totally missed what the original movie from 2022 was. And of course I am talking about Speak No Evil. And the reason I include this on this list is because when the American version came out, I saw a lot of people reviewing it some of them didn't even know it wasn't a remake, and the few people who did, who said, I didn't see the original. And I am sorry, I love another thing on this channel we love celebrating is foreign horror, and I might look a little snooty and pretentious, and yeah, I am dating a foreigner too, but 9 times out of 10, I prefer foreign horror to American, because foreign horror goes balls to the walls every time. There is not the repressiveness that Americans, we have a stricter code that we have to follow, and Americans generally can't handle some of the themes and concepts that foreign films do. They just do it better, and I don't hate America or anything like that. I'm just saying foreign films usually go, if you like your horror to go balls to the wall, go to foreign films, because there's a mean-spiritedness, there's a nastiness. They can go a lot further, a lot harder than we Americans can, and Speak No Evil is no different. And we are following 2 couples of Speak No Evil, and one of them is Dutch and one of them is Danish, and they meet on holiday, and even though they've never met each other, they have a good time, and they get invited, come on over and spend some time on your next vacation with us at our house. And the couples one of the couples has a daughter, and one of them has a son who has some sort of weird birth thing which doesn't allow him to talk, renders him mute. And of course, and the movie is called Speak No Evil. I wonder if that plays a part, and yes it does. This movie is brilliant, and one of the things that makes this movie brilliant is it's the quiet scenes in this movie. There's a scene where literally it's just involving the level of the volume of a radio, made my blood run cold. There is a scene where a guy is just watching this other couple. There is a scene where one of the couples is being overtly sexual, and it's about repression, and it's about being a lamb leading to slaughter, and how flight kind of responses, how some people will run while they see headlights coming down the road, and other people will stand in the middle of the road and be completely transfixed as the headlights, as the semi is going to bear and run them over. And that is the genius of the original Speak No Evil, of how we can be lambs to slaughter. And basically there's a line of where the one couple asks them, why are you doing this to us? And they go, because you let me. It is profound. It is also gorgeous cinematography. It's very dreary and very drab, and that kind of plays into the tone of the movie. The performances are fucking phenomenal, and there is a scene where this one couple is being borderline abusive with their child, and is screaming and degrading these poor kids. And the audience, it's such a horrific scene. As a parent, as you're watching this, you literally want to break through the screen and go, stop it, what's the matter? And you want to protect this poor kid from this maniac father. And there's more to the story about it, but I don't want to spoil it. Even if you have seen the American remake of Speak No Evil, the 2022, it doesn't hold a candle to it. I'd strongly see the original. You can see it on Shudder, and it is a fucking amazing movie. I fucking love the original Speak No Evil almost as much as I hate that fucking remake. Like I said, I'll give the devil his due. McAvoy was good, but God, that movie so fucking missed the mark. My number 4 is a movie you can find on Tubi. It's from 2012, and it was based off of a book, and it is about two brothers. The movie is called Found, and it is about this kid, and he's a nice kid, but he's having trouble. His parents aren't in a particularly good relationship. I dare I say, in a loveless relationship. He gets picked on at school. He gets rejected, and the only person in the world that understands him is his older brother, who he adores. Problem is, his brother may or may not be a serial killer, and what the fuck do you do? This movie is fucking brilliant, and the director of this film, I've seen some of their other work, and I really enjoy their style of filmmaking. I really like their stuff, but Found is what put them on the map. And you Gorehounds. It's not a particularly gory movie, but the last few shots of this movie are, and it's a Gorehound's delight. And it's also showing, what's interesting about this movie is the brother is a serial killer. That's not much of a spoiler, but it shows how one person can be more than just one thing. And while they do murder women and literally put their heads into a bowling ball bag, this brother also is the only person who honestly cares and loves his little brother and looks out for his little brother and is a better parent than his actual own parents. And that is that's what really is the genius of this movie, showing the duality of human nature and how no one is just one thing, that there are so many facets and sides to people. And I'm not condoning that someone's a serial killer, mind you. I just find it fascinating that in the same body can house such monstrous side, but also being a compassionate person with a family member. It's a very interesting dichotomy, and that is what makes the film and the book work as well. And it's a movie that doesn't get enough praise. I know Joe Bob Briggs is a fan of this particular film, and I think you guys would be too. So definitely check out Found from 2012. My number 3 is a movie you guys have heard me talk about at nauseum, but it's a movie, and I just stumbled on this. I was cruising through Amazon Prime one day, and the title intrigued me, and the cast list as well. And it's called M.O.M. Mom, Mothers of Monsters, and it's from 2020, and you can find this movie on Prime. And one of my favorite things to do in the horror genre, if it's done right, if it's done badly, then man, can you make it bad. But when it's done right, and this movie definitely does it right, is an unreliable narrator. This movie, we follow a mother and son, and we get the feeling that the mother isn't quite all right, but we're not exactly sure about her boy, and she's making these video diaries about her son and how she's afraid of him and how she's afraid he might turn into one of those school shooters. And there is some evidence to show that maybe there's something to it, but there's also evidence throughout the movie that the mother might not be playing with a full deck, and we go back and forth, and we're seeing some sides in this movie where you can see where the mother might be right, and then you can see some other sides about this kid going, my mom's is a fucking crazy, you know, she's nuts. And there is a wonderful, shocking twist of this movie that, again, much like Boy Behind the Door, left my jaw on the floor where we went. And this is it's a very low budgeted film, but God, the acting is so good. The mother and son dynamic in this movie is just very chillingly realistic. And as a parent, you always are trying to figure out the best way to raise your kid. And there's no easy answers. There's handbooks out there, but at the end of the day, you just got to trust your gut. And no matter how hard you try, you're going to fuck up. Every good, you know, even if you're a halfway decent parent, you're going to do or say something that you think of, oh God, why did I ever do that? It just comes with parenthood, and this movie amplifies all of that so fucking beautifully. It's a movie that doesn't get talked enough about, so I definitely implore you guys to check out M.O.M. Mothers of Monsters. The ending is worth the price of admission alone. My number 2 is another movie that came out in 2018, and it is a movie that the few people that did talk about it, a lot of people didn't like it, which is surprising because you know who directed this film? It's the same director who directed Martyrs, which is a movie that is universally loved in the horror community. He also directed Incident in a Ghostland, and this is a movie that Shyamalan wishes he could make. And I'm not trying to throw any shade at Shyamalan. He's not my cup of tea, but I know that he has his fans out there, and if you happen to be one of them, cool. But for me, the thing that his legacy of wonderful twist has kind of, you know, it's fallen short with especially some of his more recent films. And Incident in a Ghostland does so many twists and turns, and like I said, it's something that I think Shyamalan would love to do, and it's done so right. And we are following this very successful horror writer, and we go into a flashback about a horrific incident that happened to her sister and her mother and herself when she was a teenager. And it also, this movie strangely reminds me a little bit of another favorite film of mine, High Tension. It's not quite as batshit crazy as High Tension goes, but it has that same sensibility to it, and it's a little bit more toned down, but we still get some very good twists and turns, and it's just a movie that I never get. This is a movie I never get sick of watching, and it's a movie that for some reason nobody seems to love, and it's a movie that I'm like, oh, this movie is so good, and our killers in this film are very creepy. If you're a fan of Rob Zombie, I feel feel like you would really like Incident in a Ghostland. It has some of the best of Rob Zombie's sensibilities. And again, I know I'm saying Rob Zombie and some of you are going, oh, Jesus Christ, but I mean the best qualities of his. There's something that has both high tension and some Rob Zombie sensibilities in this movie. It's also another movie that is gorgeous to look at, and I fucking absolutely love this movie. I think you can still see this one on Shudder, and it is one that is worth your time. It is a personal favorite. It's another one that I would put in my top 20 favorite horror movies of all time. I fucking love it, and I never get sick of it. And like I said, the director is the same man who gave us Martyrs. So for that alone is worth checking it out. I don't know if any of you guys will love it as much as me, but I sure fucking love it. And my longtime viewers of my old channel will not be surprised at what made my number one. This movie is my all-time favorite horror movie ever. It is from Hong Kong, and it is from 1994, and it is part of the Category 3 films, and it is called Red to Kill. And I say this with all due respect to I Spit on Your Grave, which is a masterpiece in its own right, but I say that this is the best rape revenge movie that has ever been done. It is a hardcore movie, guys, and but it's not just the horrific scenes why this movie left such an impact. It's actually the heart is what really gets to you, because our main character in this movie is a mentally challenged young woman, and you fall in love with this character, and the actress doesn't do like an Oscar baity thing. She makes this character very likable, very relatable, and she just tugs at your heartstrings. And when something horrifically awful happens to her, it busts your heart wide open. And there is a scene after she has been insulted she's in the shower and she keeps going dirty, dirty, dirty. And you got to remember, she has the intellect of probably a 7 or an 8-year-old, and it's universal to anybody who's ever had to be in that situation. No matter what your intellect, no matter what your walk of life is, that's how you feel. You can't scrub yourself hard enough. And it's such a poignant scene of seeing this mentally challenged girl not understanding what has happened to her, can't comprehend it on a way someone else could, but she still knows on a primal level that she has been violated and she is dirty and she will never feel clean again. And it's just a powerful scene. This movie has wrecked me. It's also horrifically violent. Our rapist in this movie has his own backstory. The color red plays a part in it, and the revenge part of this film, because it's not the girl that seeks her own revenge, but it's somebody else in the movie that seeks a revenge for her on her behalf. And the ending is powerful because it doesn't necessarily give you a Hollywood happy ending, which I think sadly in life that happens more often than not, is that we don't always get happy endings. And that's another thing that really makes me appreciate horror, is it reminds us that not everything about life is rainbows and sunshine. And I've had this discussion with people who've gone, well, why do you want to expose yourself if the world is so hard? My answer to that is because we need to see this stuff so we can appreciate the rainbows and sunshine and the good moments. And I think horror kind of, in a weird way, horror makes you appreciate all the beautiful stuff in life, because it reminds you about all the bad stuff. It's a yin-yang thing, and there's people who are far more articulate who could give a better point, but that this movie illustrates the good and bad and the beauty and the devastation of life and all the things that come in between. And I think there's no other genre that does it as well as horror, that makes you appreciate all the facets of life, the good and the bad. And I always get so angry when people say that horror is the lowest common denominator. And there are a lot of movies out there that don't exactly give us the best representation, but it's these kind of films that show us that it's a lot more than just guys running around in masks. Not that I don't love those movies too, but But these little quieter movies that might not have gone under you guys' radar are what makes horror great. These are the movies that make horror shine and shows us that that there's a lot more nuance, a lot more facets, and it's a lot more smarter and has the balls to talk about subjects that polite society won't. And these movies kind of represent the best in horror. And that was Jen's top 10 phenomenal underappreciated movies. I hope you've liked my rambling bullshit. Thank you guys for coming back. I appreciate and love all you guys. Thank you for all the warm wishes that you've sent me and Marty. I appreciate it. And thank you guys for coming back. I hope you guys will stick around and we'll try to rebuild this channel to where it is and possibly make it even bigger and better. I will be back with another review, and I'll say what I always say. Keep watching and talking horror. I love you guys, and thank you for sticking around with me. Bye.